How to build an ABBA patio 8x14 carport. Step one, if you're by yourself, is getting it there. I cut 2 handles in the sides of the box, and I can move 155 pounds without a problem. By myself. 2, find a location. And 3, let's cut the box open. Oh, step 4, pick a balmy day like today. Look at all these parts. Get a bunch of E and attach it to a bunch of A. Attach E, D, and A. The other step one with any assembly project like this DIY carport backyard storage shed is to learn the alphagraphic line drawing language from what are ostensibly easy to follow instructions. Hey, hieroglyphics are easy to read, but you need a Rosetta Stone first. All these parts swivel, so we had to freeze them with a couple of wraps of duct tape. I won't lie, I was already nervous this wasn't going to work. Okay, so let's connectorize this section. That's it, I'm done. Oh goody, here's the first in a series of phantom holes in the downposts. I wonder what I'm doing wrong. Okay, it's a little saggy. Let's get some center supports in. I typically set up a work table to manage little parts like this, but it's possible the freezing temperatures gave me brain damage, so I was working off the ground. These feet are tapered, so there's a correct and an incorrect way to install them. A few nuts and bolts. These holes aren't phantoms. And we put this thing's shoes on. I started to have some concerns that the carport cover was actually vacuum packed, like one of those things you see on an infomercial. We probably could have gotten away with an 8x8. And, good thing I'm not trying to put up a 14-foot sail or anything. Unwrap, unfold, unwrap, unfold. And it's got a shape to it, so you have to free those up as you go. So somehow I have to get this over that. Do a quickie tricky bowline knot. It's easy with gloves on. I quickly realized that the cover sagged too much between the ropes, so I slid in one of the side stiffeners and kind of centered it. Let's see how this works. Okay. With the stiffener in and 3 points of contact, I was able to manipulate the cover over the frame. There's a back and forth of unfurling and unfolding to get the cover over the frame, but it worked! I also found more phantom holes, and if I can offer one piece of advice, it's this. Don't fight too hard. if the cover isn't moving freely, the likelihood that it's snagged on a fold or something else that you can't see is somewhere around 900%. Move, unfold, freeze with a knot, move, unfold, freeze with a knot. It'll go over, I think, right? This is another perfect example of instructions telling you what to do, but not how to do them or what the reasons are for doing them that way.
Carriage bolts.
Add another set of phantom holes. I mean, is this thing made out of spare parts? And we had to noodle our way through this assembly, but we got it.
Oh, there are holes. There's got to be. How do I get? I guess this just holds by friction?
A little twisty for this center bracket.
Please try to freeze.
Oh, here's some holes we're actually going to use. How about that?
Stay calm for me for a sec, Wind. So it looks like it goes like this. I can't wait to do this 75 times.
I am not going to trust something with this much surface area to the wind to a bunch of little smooth shank nails. I got some 12-inch Spax structural screws, and I blasted 2 in each leg. This thing is going nowhere. Other than the front door assembly being sliding Velcro through Velcro with no room for your fingers, it went in fairly easily. I still even have some skin left. But once it's in, it's in. And I'll tell you what, once we've had this set up for a while on the job site, it blocks the wind beautifully. It is a great place to store things like concrete, and it is significantly above freezing in there. All told, all the things I was worried about in the beginning turned out to be red herrings. It went in easily, it's working nicely, and we've got a cozy spot to be on the job site.